All right, so we're gonna get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got some folks still coming in. We come on in, come on in. Absolutely fantastic. Glad to have you here. And as we say every week, the wonderful thing about what we're doing is because it's time to tell the truth. That's just what time it is. And I'm old school, so some of y'all too young to remember that old TV show called To Tell the Truth. And that's what we're working diligently to do. And we're about halfway there. The Lord spoke to me and told me to do 52 sessions of this. And I think I'm right at almost that halfway mark. It's like, okay, did you really say 52? Okay. So we're moving forward in this and nonstop. My name is Dr. Rosenshaw Belt. Everybody calls me Dr. Roz. For those of you that don't know who I am the CEO of Dream to Life, actually LLC, now a nonprofit I've got just started last year, and productions and ministry. I'm a wife, a musician, a bunch of other stuff that I've been blessed to do. But what's important with what I'm about to share with you is that I'm a certified wellness coach. And I have certificates to prove that. Yes, certified wellness coach. I've got a certificate of completion with Akana and lifestyle consultant. Also with the Flat Belly Lifestyle, where I earned my certified wellness coach with our naturopathic doctor, Dr. Eric Prince. So we're going to get started. We've been teaching for the past 5 sessions about why Christians get sick. And so many things are taking place. And you'll hear some stuff that really is not only why Christians get sick, but why it happens to everybody else too. But the thing is that we're supposed to be different, right? We're supposed to be set aside. We're supposed to be following a different set of principles. We know that the word of God says in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life. And I don't know about you, I choose life. And I hope that we're getting to a place where we will say, I'm going to choose life. So how am I going to choose life? The only way I'm going to choose life is to do something different. See, there's another scripture, and I don't have it even in this, I'm just hearing it now as I'm talking. The Bible says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is the will of God, right? So if we're going to be transformed, if we're going to be changed, if we're going to be different, then that means we got to do something different. So there's this doctor that I found, Dr. Mary Ruth Swope, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but she was a popular lecturer, author, and nutritionist after serving as a nutritionist with the Ohio Health Department. Between 1919 and 2008 is when she passed away. And she's a member of the Foods and Nutrition faculty at Purdue University and the head of Foods and Nutrition at the University of Nevada. She took early retirement to begin a new ministry, and her ministry was called Nutrition with a Mission. Now, she had this book called Green Leaves of Barley. And in this book, she stated, the uselessness of surgery for cancer has been known for at least 3 decades. Your surgeon, of course, will be the last to admit it. As long as he can find people to submit to his scalpel, he will. That's pretty strong words, right? If Americans want to get well from cancer, heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, obesity, and a whole host of debilitating conditions, in my opinion, this was in her opinion, she said, they will have to find non-orthodox treatment modalities involving nutrition and other remedies provided by nature as the major components. We can't expect the medical community to conform us of natural causes. So that was what she wrote. That was what she stated. And of course, she recently passed in 2018. Now, one of the things I want you to understand that there's been billions of dollars on cancer research. And the number of people developing and dying of cancer is increasing constantly. Cancer rose 223% from 1960 just to 1982. Yet, we're living in a society where technology continues to increase, right? And recently, even the American Cancer Society has told us that research indicates that an improved diet may be helpful in keeping a person from developing cancer.
I first want you to know you are what you eat. And the 3 worst foods that you should avoid that potentially can lead to risks of cancer are: number 1, processed meats, like sausages, hot dogs, and bacon. They're particularly harmful as they contain nitrates and nitrites, which can form carcinogens. And number 2, shockingly, yes, you need to believe it, it's sugary drinks and refined carbs, such as sodas, pastries, and white breads. They're dangerous because they spike insulin levels. This leads to obesity and inflammation. Both are significant risk factors for cancer. And finally, number 3 are your trans fats. They're found in fried foods, packaged baked goods. They need to be avoided as they increase inflammation and oxidative stress, potentially causing cell damage that could lead to cancer. So remember one thing: in order for your body to stay healthy, you need to eat well. Make it a great day.
Why is it that meat eaters have higher cancer rates?
Part of it is that when you heat meat, in your oven, in your fry pan, whatever, carcinogens form, cancer-causing chemicals form in the meat. And that's not just red meat. The biggest source is actually chicken. Americans eat 1 million chickens per hour, but it's in fish, it's in any skeletal muscle that you heat up. So that's part of it. The other part of it is that when people eat meat, hormonal changes occur in their bodies in an unfortunate way. So things like breast cancer, prostate cancer are part of that as well.
Wow. Oh my God. Now, I forgot to tell you guys, don't shoot the messenger. Okay. I'm just saying, I just do the research. I just do the studies. I'm just trying to find out the truth.
Pesticides are another issue because if you're eating processed food, you're eating pesticides. So with women, the issue becomes an estrogen dominance in the body. Issue you're going to have is breast cancer, uterine cancer, fibroids, PCOS, a lot of issues around having a very painful, longer menstrual cycle, which most women are having. And this is really key. You're going to start to see young girls have earlier menses. So now we're seeing young girls, we're having a menses at 9.
What?
Whereas if you go back to like the 1800s, it was like 14, 16, they would have their first period. The earlier your menses is, it increases your risk for breast cancer. It increases your risk for all reproductive cancers for women. The more estrogen you have in your body, it causes the woman to become androgenized. What that means is it will make her more masculine. Just think about that for a second. We're seeing men become more feminine, seeing women become more masculine. And all of this ties back to food.
What would you do if you had cancer?
I would immediately get out of America because this is a stressful environment and stress causes cancer to exacerbate. Leave here, go somewhere indigenous where I can be around fruits, vegetables, easy. I would immediately start juicing, not eating. The thing you want to do is you want to starve cancer because you can feed cancer. And one of the primary things you can feed cancer with is sugar. I want to starve it by first not eating any kind of sugar. And then I want my body to be in such a healthy state. So I'm going to juice a lot so I can keep my body in a rested state so it can use all of the energy it would be breaking down food with to heal, regenerate, and repair.
Dr. Bobby Price said, I would leave America if he was diagnosed with cancer. Absolutely amazing. You know, it's funny because I was watching the news the other day and the FDA is trying to make a decision on the color red 5 or whatever number is associated with it. If they want to ban it, excuse me, it's already been banned in all the other countries. In other countries, it's already been banned. So has the yellow, so has the pink, the purple, the blue, the gold. All these colors that we're feeding our children have already been banned. What are we waiting for? Because they're making money off our pain. The authorities have been telling us for years that what we eat has nothing to do with our physical well-being. Some of you right now, you could go to your doctor and he would tell you, you could change your diet and your lifestyle, and that's not going to stop your heart problems. That's not going to stop your diabetes. That's not going to stop your blood pressure. But let me tell you something. Now they're advising that a change in our diet will help reduce the risk of cancer and heart attacks. Excuse me? I just am not going to wait for them to let me know that it's okay for me to take control of my own health. Because how many people have to die? I mean, so now they're saying, oh yeah, maybe a change in your diet might help.
I talk about this a lot. You heard me say this before, but the evidence just got even stronger for food as medicine. Cleveland Clinic researchers have now confirmed that food can heal your heart. Their study published in the Journal of Family Practice found that a plant-based diet not only prevents heart attacks, but can actually reverse the damage. First of all, out of the patients who tried the vegan diet, almost 9 out of 10 stuck with it. 81% had fewer symptoms and experienced fewer complications from heart disease. A whopping 22% reversed signs of heart disease. And the participants lost almost 20 pounds each on average.
You have some easy to remember adages about how people can decide what they should or should not eat.
We know what they shouldn't eat. That is oil, dairy, meat, fish, and chicken. What do we want them to eat? We want them to eat all those whole grains for their cereal, bread, and pasta, beans, vegetables, yellow, red, green, and fruit. Now, what particular vegetables do we want them to have? Bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collards, collard green, beet greens, mustard green, turnip greens, napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and arugula, and asparagus. And I'm out of breath.
Now the mantra is, eat nothing that has a mother or a face. Dr. Esselstyn and other researchers insist if you stick to that advice, you won't have a heart attack in the first place.
Wow. If it doesn't have a mother or a face. Wow. Amazing, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Wow. So when we understand this, and please understand that I'm not saying that you're going to go out and you're going to cut everything out all of a sudden. But my purpose for here is to make us aware, because we're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. See, the more knowledge we get, the more we can open up our understanding and the more intentional we can become in our decision making. Here is another lady, Dr. Beverly Winnicott. These are doctors, by the way, and y'all know I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a certified wellness coach, but I do have 2 doctorates. One's in theology, one's in divinity. So that gives me the ability to really be able to dig deep and find information and study and do the research. But here's a doctor, a medical doctor. She was a public health and general preventative medicine physician in New York, New York, has over 53 years of experience in the medical field, graduated from New York University in 1971. That's a lot of doctoral information, right? She said, there's a widespread and unfounded confidence in the ability of medical science to cure or mitigate the effects of such diseases once they occur. Appropriate public education must emphasize the unfortunate but clear limitations of current medical practice in curing the common killer diseases. Now, I'm not throwing all doctors under the bus, but just hear what she's saying. Once hypertension, diabetes, arterial sclerosis, or heart disease are manifest, there is in reality very little that medical science can do to return a patient to normal physiological function. As awareness of this limitation increases, the importance of prevention will become all the more obvious. So what does that mean? It's time for us to do something about it. By the way, that's the title of this today. This is our 6th, talking about why Christians get sick. There's a book out there called Why Christians Get Sick. And this is how we've been taking some of this information from this particular book. And our 6th session of this is it's time to do something about it. Here's another guy. He was a top health official for Lyndon Johnson and a fighter for social justice. He's deceased now. He used government money as a cudgel to compel hospitals to desegregate in the 60s. A fierce advocate for racial equity and healthcare reform, and an inspiring leader and lifelong mentor, Dr. Lee made an indelible mark on the nation's healthcare environment. He said, as a nation, we have come to believe that medicine and medical technology can solve our major health problems. The role of such important factors as diet in cancer and heart disease has long been obscured by the emphasis on the conquest of these diseases through the miracles of modern medicine. Treatment, not prevention. I want you to swallow that. Treatment, not prevention, has been the order of the day. The problem can never be solved merely by more and more medical care. Finally, our greatest bulwark against the interests that have helped to create the present problems is an informed public. Isn't that what we're doing today? Trying to be informed. There was an edition called Dietary Goals for the United States. This thing was published before the end of, it was published before 1977, but before the end of 1977, they replaced it. I mean, before the end of 1977, it was no longer available. And they replaced it with a second edition. And the second edition was published in 77 of December, and it contained a 3-page foreword quoting the American Medical Association, who said that to change your diet may be harmful. The foreword then goes on attempting to discredit the entire document by saying that science has not proven any connection between diet and disease. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not waiting for the FDA to approve everything. People tell me all the time, well, is it approved by the FDA? Well, the stuff that's killing folk is approved by the FDA. I mean, I did one of the teachings I did in 1 week, I showed various different things that have come out, medications that have come out over the years, that after 15, 20, 30 years, they'll say, oh, let's take this off the shelf because this is killing folk. Well, they don't say killing folk, but it's harmful.
2/3 of adults are now overweight or obese, and we have an epidemic cascade of debilitating disease that's overcoming the country. There's no way we can sustain the current style of care with the epidemic that we're creating with our diet and lifestyle choices.
The diabetes, the arthritis, the heart disease, the dementia, the obesity, the cancers are affecting about 70% of deaths. All the data is that those 70% of deaths and morbidity are largely lifestyle related and preventable.
Most kids by age 10 in the US already have fatty streaks in their arteries, the first stage of atherosclerosis leading to heart attacks, strokes.
Here in American medicine, we operate from the disease model. We are in the business of treating sick people. We are not in the business of trying to prevent people from becoming sick.
When you look at chronic disease risk, all the things that we walk around worrying about, actually dietary choices trump smoking when it comes to those risks.
If I could deliver one message to the researchers who are looking for the cause of diabetes and the cause of clogged arteries and the cause of high blood pressure and the cause of obesity, I would tell them the answer's in 3 words. It's the food. It's what Americans are eating.
So here it is. They had a document that was out that they tried to refute, get it off, and did a second edition of it, trying to say that it's not the food. Come on, somebody, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize, and I've done this on one of the sessions called They Don't Want Us Healthy. The American Diabetes Association, here's a good example. Here's a good example of their teachings. They're in control of this. Check out the meals they serve at your local hospital. Meals prepared by the ADA, approved dietitians. An analysis of these meals will quickly reveal that they are so poor nutritionally that they would contribute more to a person remaining in the hospital than helping them get well and be able to return to their homes. And then let's not even talk about the average school lunch program. Pizza, greasy foods, hamburgers, French fries, hot dogs, sugary desserts. That's just to name a few things that we're sending our children to school. They're getting the free lunch, and then we're feeding them a life that's going to cause them to die at an early age. And remember this, it's coming from the experts who are supposed to be showing the American people what constitutes a wholesome diet.
Here, the USDA plans to announce rules that require schools to get rid of unhealthy snacks and eliminate students' exposure to junk food. The rules would prohibit schools from advertising a food or a beverage if it's unhealthy to serve. The push for schools to serve healthier food began in 2010 when First Lady Michelle Obama began her Let's Move campaign.
Thank God for that. Thank God that she had the vision and the stamina to be able to deal with and fight against the powers that be. Christians take their sick to doctors and hospitals where the entire approach to healing and health are mostly in direct opposition to God's ways. Scripture says in 3 John 2, beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper, be in health, even as your soul prospers. Then why is it that we're so more focused on the soul prosperity only? Don't misunderstand me. I'm a minister, and I know that we must have soul prosperity. We must grow spiritually. We must strengthen our spiritual walk with God. But what good is it to preach heaven down in the pulpit and go back to your office and have a heart attack? What good is it to be? And I'm a musician, and if you watch musicians that you know, I mean, I dare you just to watch the next concert that you watch online or in person and see obesity all across the stage. See folks sweating because their heart is working overtime. People are dying prematurely. Christians have allowed their bodies to be drugged by chemicals, burned by radiation, and mutilated by removing the unhealthy body parts through surgery. Somebody told me the other day they had something removed, and if they had known, they would not have done it because they didn't know that there was another option. All I want people to know is there is another option. Then you can make a decision what you want to do. When the patient doesn't get well or dies, what do we say as a believer, as a Christian? Well, we did all that we could do, as a valid explanation that from the medical profession, and then spiritually we rationalize it by saying, oh, it must have been God's will. Listen, it's time, high time, that we as believers, Christians, realize that the medical profession's failures are not necessarily God's will, nor has the medical profession done all that they could do or all that could be done. So we've gotten on the wrong road. That's all I'm saying. We're on the wrong road concerning health and nutrition and the proper care of our body. Matthew 7, 13 and 14, because you say, well, everybody else is going this way. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. If you're watching this right now, you are one of the few that is finding it. That's why I challenge every single person to detox your body. Do whatever you can to get the toxins out. That's why it's important to remove those heavy toxins, those heavy metals that are accumulating in our body, and it happens to all of us. We walk outside. There are fires that are taking place in California. There are things that are taking place in your city and in your town. I live in a city where there are plants that are that have smoke coming out of all the different chemicals that are coming into the air, and they travel. So we've got to detox. We've got foods that we buy from the store, and we're trying to eat the right kind of foods, but they're spraying pesticides and insecticides and herbicides on them. And yes, you take them home and you wash them, but don't fool yourself. You're not washing all that stuff off. So we've got to detox. We got to cleanse these intestinal and bowel toxins. We got to expel toxins for the internal organs. We got to clear the lymphatic congestion to improve immunity, and we've got to ensure smooth nutrient delivery, because we may be trying to eat the right things, but the nutrients aren't getting in. So whoever it is that invited you to watch this, ask them, how can I detox? What's the best way for me to detox? Because if they shared this information with you, then they know exactly how to do it. So I've got to thank you guys. This has been a great session that we've been sharing for the last 6 sessions about why Christians get sick. And as I said before, it applies to everybody. So stay tuned with us. Now, if you want to hear more of all these kinds of different teachings, because we've talked about blood pressure and how to conquer with food. We've talked about how we can end dementia. We've talked about why they don't want us healthy. Oh my goodness, we've talked about so many different things up until this. I think this is the 25th session. And we've got about half of that to go, 27 more to go. Yep. So yeah, definitely you can go back and definitely hit subscribe to the YouTube page so you can get a little ding every time we create a brand new presentation. Thank you so much for coming. Let's